Have you ever felt like there's more to life than what meets the eye? Like there are secrets to the universe just waiting to be discovered? Well, you're not alone. For centuries, people have been searching for deeper meaning and understanding. And there's one tradition that's been quietly sharing its wisdom all this time: the Rosicrucian tradition. Now you might be thinking, Rosicrucian, what's that? Don't worry, you're not the only one. This fascinating spiritual path isn't something you hear about every day. But here's the thing. It holds secrets to personal growth and understanding the world around us that could blow your mind. Imagine having access to knowledge that could help you become the best version of yourself. Picture being able to see the world in a whole new way, understanding how everything is connected. That's what the Rosicrucian tradition offers. It's like having a map to navigate life's biggest questions and challenges. But here's the catch. If we don't take the time to explore traditions like this, we might be missing out on some seriously valuable wisdom. Think about it. How many times have you faced a problem and wished you had some ancient, time-tested advice to help you through it? That's exactly what the Rosicrucian tradition could offer. Let's be real for a moment. Life can be tough sometimes. We all face challenges, whether it's in our relationships, our careers, or just figuring out who we are and what we want from life. And in today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel lost or overwhelmed. That's where traditions like Rosicrucianism come in. They offer a different perspective, a way of looking at the world that can help us navigate these challenges. But if we don't take the time to explore these ideas, we might be missing out on tools that could really make a difference in our lives. Think about it this way. Imagine you're trying to build a house, but you only have a hammer. Sure, you might be able to get some things done, but it's going to be a lot harder than if you had a full toolbox. The wisdom from traditions like Rosicrucianism is like adding new tools to your life toolbox. Without them, you might still be able to build your house, or in this case, live your life. But it could be a lot more difficult, and you might not get the results you're hoping for. But it's not just about making life easier, it's about living a richer, more fulfilling life. The Rosicrucian tradition talks a lot about personal growth and understanding the world around us. If we don't explore these ideas, we might be missing out on opportunities to grow as people, to understand ourselves better, and to see the world in new and exciting ways. And let's not forget about the bigger picture. In a world that often feels divided, traditions like Rosicrucianism remind us of our connections to each other and to the world around us. If we don't take the time to explore these ideas, we might be missing out on ways to create more harmony and understanding in our lives and in the world. So the stakes are pretty high. By not exploring traditions like Rosicrucianism, we might be missing out on valuable wisdom that could help us live better lives, understand ourselves more deeply, and contribute to a more harmonious world. That's why it's worth taking the time to learn about these traditions, even if they're not something we hear about every day. Now that we understand why exploring traditions like Rosicrucianism is important, let's dive into what Rosicrucianism actually is. Don't worry if you've never heard of it before. We're going to break it down in simple terms. Rosicrucianism is a spiritual and philosophical tradition that's been around for hundreds of years. It first became known in the early 1600s in Europe, but its teachings claim to draw on ancient wisdom that goes back much further. The name Rosicrucian comes from the symbol of a rose on a cross, which has deep meaning in the tradition. At its core, Rosicrucianism is all about seeking knowledge and understanding. But we're not just talking about the kind of knowledge you get from textbooks. Rosicrucians are interested in understanding the nature of the universe, the mysteries of life, and the potential of human beings. They believe that there's more to reality than what we can see with our physical eyes, and they seek to uncover these hidden truths. One of the main ideas in Rosicrucianism is that everything in the universe is connected. They see the world as one big, interconnected system where everything affects everything else. This might sound a bit abstract, but it has practical implications. For example, it means that our thoughts and actions can have far-reaching effects, not just on our own lives, but on the world around us. Another key aspect of Rosicrucianism is the focus on personal growth and development. Rosicrucians believe that each person has incredible potential within them, like a seed waiting to grow into a beautiful plant. Their teachings and practices are designed to help people tap into this potential and become the best versions of themselves. Rosicrucians also believe in the idea of universal laws that govern how the universe works. These aren't laws like the ones in our legal system, but more like the laws of nature. Just like gravity affects everything on Earth, Rosicrucians believe there are spiritual and mental laws that affect our lives. Understanding these laws, they say, can help us live more harmoniously and successfully. One thing that's important to understand about Rosicrucianism is that it's not a religion in the traditional sense. While it does deal with spiritual ideas, it doesn't require belief in any specific god or set of gods. Instead, it encourages people to seek their own understanding of the divine or the ultimate reality. Rosicrucians are also big on the idea of practical application. It's not just about learning interesting ideas, it's about putting those ideas into practice in your daily life. They offer various techniques and practices, like meditation and visualization, that are meant to help people experience the truths they teach firsthand. The goals of Rosicrucianism are pretty ambitious. They aim to help individuals grow spiritually and mentally, to understand the mysteries of life and the universe, and to use this understanding to create positive change in the world. They believe that as more people awaken to these deeper truths, it can lead to a more peaceful and harmonious world. One interesting aspect of Rosicrucianism is its approach to science and spirituality. Unlike some traditions that see these as opposing forces, Rosicrucians view them as complementary ways of understanding the world. They're interested in scientific discoveries and often seek to find connections between scientific findings and spiritual truths. Rosicrucians also place a lot of importance on symbols and rituals. They believe that certain symbols can convey deep truths in a way that goes beyond words. The rose and cross symbol we mentioned earlier is just one example. These symbols are used in their teachings and rituals as tools for understanding and growth. It's worth noting that there isn't just one Rosicrucian organization. Over the years, various groups have formed that draw on Rosicrucian teachings. While they may differ in some details, they generally share the core ideas we've talked about here. So to sum up, Rosicrucianism is a spiritual and philosophical tradition that seeks to uncover the mysteries of life and the universe. It emphasizes personal growth, the interconnectedness of all things, and the practical application of spiritual truths. While it may not be as well known as some other spiritual traditions, its teachings offer a unique perspective on life and the world around us. As we continue our journey into the Rosicrucian tradition, we'll explore some of its key principles in more depth. We'll look at how Rosicrucians study and grow, the practices they use, and how these ancient teachings can be applied to modern life. Remember, the goal isn't just to learn about an interesting tradition, it's to discover ideas and practices that could potentially enrich our own lives and help us see the world in new ways. Whether you're someone who's always been interested in spiritual ideas, or you're just curious about different ways of understanding the world, the Rosicrucian tradition offers a fascinating perspective. It invites us to look beyond the surface of things, to question what we think we know, and to embark on a journey of discovery, both of the world around us and of ourselves. As we delve deeper into the Rosicrucian teachings, keep an open mind. You might find ideas that resonate with you, or practices that you'd like to try out in your own life. Or you might simply gain a new perspective on some of life's big questions. Either way, exploring these ideas can be a valuable and enriching experience. So are you ready to uncover some hidden wisdom? Let's continue our journey into the fascinating world of Rosicrucianism. Who knows what secrets we might discover along the way? Key Rosicrucian principles, the building blocks of wisdom. Now that we have a basic understanding of what Rosicrucianism is, let's dive into some of its core principles. These are the big ideas that form the foundation of Rosicrucian thought. Don't worry if they seem a bit abstract at first. We'll break them down and use some everyday examples to make them easier to grasp. One of the most important Rosicrucian principles is the idea of as above, so below. This phrase might sound a bit mysterious, but it's actually a powerful way of understanding how the universe works. Basically, it means that patterns and principles that exist in one part of reality are reflected in other parts. It's like looking at a tree. The way the branches spread out above ground is similar to how the roots spread out below ground. Rosicrucians believe this principle applies to everything in the universe, from the tiniest atoms to the largest galaxies. Let's think about how this might apply in our lives. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts affect your emotions, which in turn affect your actions? That's as above, so below in action. Your inner world, thoughts and emotions, reflects in your outer world, actions and experiences. This principle suggests that if we want to change our lives, we need to start by changing our inner world. Another key Rosicrucian principle is the law of cause and effect. This one might sound familiar because it's a concept we see in many areas of life. Simply put, it means that every action has a reaction, every cause has an effect. Rosicrucians take this idea further, applying it not just to physical actions, but to thoughts and emotions as well. Think about it like this. When you throw a pebble into a pond, it creates ripples that spread out across the water. Rosicrucians believe our thoughts and actions are like that pebble, creating ripples that affect not just our own lives, but the world around us. This principle encourages us to be mindful of our thoughts and actions, knowing that they have consequences beyond what we might immediately see. A third important principle in Rosicrucianism is the idea of personal responsibility. This ties in closely with the law of cause and effect. If our thoughts and actions create ripples in the world, then we're responsible for the ripples we create. This principle encourages Rosicrucians to take charge of their own growth and development, rather than blaming outside circumstances for their problems. This doesn't mean that bad things won't happen, or that everything is our fault. Instead, it's about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond to life's challenges. It's like being the captain of a ship. We can't control the weather, but we can adjust our sails and choose our course. These principles might seem simple on the surface, but they have profound implications when you start applying them to your life. They encourage us to look at the world in a different way, to see the connections between things, and to recognize our own power to shape our lives and the world around us. Now that we've explored some key Rosicrucian principles, let's look at how Rosicrucians actually study and grow. The Rosicrucian path of learning is not like a typical school curriculum. Instead, it's more like a journey of self-discovery, with each person progressing at their own pace. Rosicrucian study typically involves a combination of reading, reflection, and practical exercises. Members often receive lessons or monographs that explain Rosicrucian concepts and provide exercises to help understand and apply these ideas. These lessons are usually studied in private, allowing each person to spend as much time as they need to really grasp the concepts. One important aspect of Rosicrucian learning is the idea of experiential knowledge. This means that it's not enough to just read about an idea. Rosicrucians are encouraged to experience the truth of these ideas for themselves. It's a bit like the difference between reading about how to ride a bike and actually getting on a bike and learning to balance. Rosicrucian teachings provide the instructions, but it's up to each individual to put them into practice and experience the results. This approach to learning is often described as a spiral path. Instead of moving in a straight line from one topic to the next, Rosicrucian studies often revisit the same themes and ideas at deeper levels. It's like climbing a spiral staircase. With each turn, you're covering similar ground, but from a higher perspective. Rosicrucian learning is also often divided into different stages or degrees. These aren't like grades in school, but more like levels of understanding. As students progress, they're introduced to more advanced concepts and practices. However, the focus is always on personal growth and understanding, not on competing with others or achieving a certain status. One interesting aspect of Rosicrucian study is the use of symbols and rituals. These aren't just for show. Rosicrucians believe that certain symbols and practices can help unlock deeper levels of understanding. It's a bit like how a picture can sometimes convey an idea more powerfully than words. These symbols and rituals are tools for learning and growth, helping students connect with the ideas on a deeper level. Now let's talk about some of the practices that Rosicrucians use to apply their teachings in daily life. These practices are like exercises for the mind and spirit, designed to help followers grow and develop their understanding. One of the most important Rosicrucian practices is meditation. But Rosicrucian meditation is a bit different from what you might typically think of as meditation. While it does involve quieting the mind, it's often more focused and directed than some other forms of meditation. Rosicrucians might meditate on a specific symbol, idea, or question, using their concentration to gain deeper insights. For example, a Rosicrucian might meditate on the idea of as above, so below that we talked about earlier. They might visualize this principle in action, perhaps imagining how it applies in nature or in their own life. Through this focused contemplation, they aim to not just understand the idea intellectually, but to feel and experience its truth. Another important practice in Rosicrucianism is visualization. This involves using the power of imagination to create vivid mental images. Rosicrucians believe that this practice can help shape our reality and bring about positive changes in our lives. It's a bit like an athlete visualizing a perfect performance before a big game. By creating a clear mental picture, we can help guide our actions and experiences. Rosicrucians also practice what they call attunement. This is a process of trying to align oneself with the positive forces of the universe. It might involve periods of quiet reflection, specific breathing exercises, or the use of certain sounds or music. The goal is to create a sense of harmony and connection with the world around us. Many Rosicrucian practices involve working with energy. They believe that there are subtle energies that flow through and around us, and that learning to sense and direct these energies can have powerful effects. This might sound a bit out there, but you can think of it like learning to be more aware of your own body and the space around you. One interesting Rosicrucian practice is the use of affirmations. These are positive statements that are repeated regularly to help shape our thoughts and beliefs. It's based on the idea that our thoughts have power, and by consciously choosing positive thoughts, we can create positive changes in our lives. An example of a Rosicrucian affirmation might be something like, "I am in harmony with the universal forces of good." Rosicrucians also emphasize the importance of self-reflection and journaling. They encourage followers to regularly examine their thoughts, actions, and experiences. This isn't about judging yourself, but about becoming more aware of your inner world and how it relates to your outer experiences. It's a way of putting the principle of as above, so below into practice in your own life. Another practice that's important in Rosicrucianism is the study of natural laws. This involves observing nature and trying to understand the principles that govern the natural world. Rosicrucians believe that by understanding these laws, we can live more in harmony with the universe and tap into its power. One more practice worth mentioning is what Rosicrucians call mental alchemy. This is the idea of transforming negative thoughts and emotions into positive ones. It's based on the ancient idea of alchemy, turning base metals into gold, but applied to our inner world. Through various techniques, Rosicrucians aim to transmute negative mental states into positive ones. All these practices are designed to help Rosicrucians apply the principles we talked about earlier in their daily lives. They're not just abstract ideas, but tools for personal growth and development. The goal is to gradually transform oneself, becoming more aware, more balanced, and more in tune with the universe. It's important to note that these practices aren't meant to be a quick fix or a magic solution to life's problems. They require regular effort and patience. Rosicrucians see personal growth as a lifelong journey, with each practice and exercise being a step along that path. Also, while these practices are an important part of Rosicrucianism, they're not exclusive to it. You might recognize some of them from other spiritual or self-help traditions. What's unique about Rosicrucianism is the way these practices are combined and the specific teachings they're connected to. As we explore these practices, You might find some that resonate with you. Even if you're not interested in becoming a Rosicrucian, there might be ideas here that you can apply in your own life. The beauty of these practices is that they're flexible. You can adapt them to your own beliefs and needs. Remember, the goal of all these practices is to help us grow, to understand ourselves and the world better, and to live more fulfilling lives. Whether it's through meditation, visualization, or self-reflection, these tools offer ways to explore our inner world and connect with the world around us in deeper ways. In the world of Rosicrucianism, symbols play a crucial role. They're not just pretty pictures or decorations, they're seen as keys that can unlock deeper understanding. Let's explore some of the most important Rosicrucian symbols and what they mean. One of the most famous Rosicrucian symbols is the rose cross. Picture a cross with a red rose at its center. This symbol is packed with meaning. The cross represents the physical world and the human body, while the rose represents the unfolding of the soul. Together they symbolize the journey of spiritual growth and the balance between the material and spiritual aspects of life. Think of it like this. Just as a rose unfolds its petals to reveal its beauty, Rosicrucians believe our souls can unfold to reveal our inner wisdom and potential. The thorns on the rose's stem remind us that this journey isn't always easy, but the beauty of the flower shows that it's worth it. Another important Rosicrucian symbol is the triangle. You might see it as a single triangle or as two triangles overlapping to form a six-pointed star. The triangle represents the threefold nature of the universe that Rosicrucians believe in: body, mind, and spirit. When two triangles overlap, it symbolizes the harmony between the spiritual and material worlds. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to live a balanced life. You need to take care of your body, eating well, exercising, your mind, learning, thinking clearly, and your spirit, finding meaning, connecting with something larger than yourself. The triangle reminds us to pay attention to all these aspects of our lives. A third symbol that's important in Rosicrucianism is the circle. The circle represents unity, wholeness, and the cyclical nature of life. It has no beginning and no end, just like how Rosicrucians see the universe as an eternal cycle of creation and transformation. You can think of the circle like the cycle of seasons or the cycle of life itself. It reminds us that everything is connected and that endings often lead to new beginnings. This symbol encourages us to see the bigger picture in life, beyond our day-to-day concerns. These symbols aren't just for looking at. Rosicrucians often use them in meditation and visualization practices. By focusing on a symbol, they aim to tap into the deeper truths it represents. It's a bit like how looking at a photo can bring back memories and feelings. These symbols are designed to evoke deeper understanding and insights. You might be wondering, this all sounds interesting, but how does it apply to my everyday life? That's a great question, and it's one that Rosicrucians take very seriously. They believe that spiritual wisdom should be practical and applicable to our daily experiences. One way Rosicrucian teachings apply to daily life is through the practice of mindfulness. This isn't unique to Rosicrucianism, but it fits well with their teachings. Being mindful means paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings in the present moment. It's about being fully engaged in whatever you're doing, whether that's eating a meal, talking to a friend, or working on a project. For example, a Rosicrucian might practice mindfulness by taking a few moments each day to really observe their surroundings. They might look closely at a flower, noticing its colors, shape, and scent. This isn't just about appreciation. It's about seeing the interconnectedness of all things, a key Rosicrucian principle. Another way Rosicrucian ideas apply to daily life is through the concept of mental alchemy we mentioned earlier. This involves consciously working to transform negative thoughts and emotions into positive ones. It's not about denying negative feelings, but about learning to process them in a healthy way. For instance, if you're feeling frustrated about a problem at work, you might practice mental alchemy by first acknowledging your frustration, then looking for the opportunity within the challenge. Maybe this problem is a chance to learn a new skill or to improve communication with your colleagues. By shifting your perspective, you're practicing a form of mental alchemy. Rosicrucians also apply their understanding of cause and effect to their daily decisions. Remember how we talked about the ripple effect of our actions? This principle encourages Rosicrucians to think carefully about the potential consequences of their choices, not just for themselves, but for others and the world around them. In practice, this might look like considering the environmental impact of your purchases or thinking about how your words might affect someone before you speak. It's about recognizing that every action, no matter how small, can have far-reaching effects. The Rosicrucian emphasis on personal responsibility also has practical applications in daily life. It encourages followers to take charge of their own growth and development, rather than blaming others or circumstances for their problems. For example, if a Rosicrucian is unhappy in their job, instead of just complaining about it, they might ask themselves, "What can I learn from this situation? How can I use this as an opportunity for growth? What steps can I take to improve things or to move towards a job that's more fulfilling?" This approach empowers them to be active participants in shaping their lives. As with many spiritual traditions, there are some common misunderstandings about Rosicrucianism. Let's clear up a couple of these to get a more accurate picture of what this tradition is really about. One common myth is that Rosicrucianism is a secret society with hidden agendas. While it's true that Rosicrucian teachings were once kept more private, today many Rosicrucian organizations are quite open about their beliefs and practices. They're not trying to control the world or hide great secrets. They're simply offering a path for personal and spiritual development to those who are interested. Think of it like a cooking class. The chef isn't trying to keep secret recipes from the world. They're sharing their knowledge with those who want to learn. In the same way, Rosicrucian organizations today are often quite willing to share their teachings with sincere seekers. Another misunderstanding is that Rosicrucianism is all about gaining magical powers or psychic abilities. While Rosicrucian teachings do include concepts that might seem mystical, the focus is really on personal growth, understanding the world around us and living in harmony with natural laws. It's more about developing your potential as a human being than about gaining supernatural powers. A Rosicrucian might work on developing their intuition or becoming more aware of the energies around them, but this is seen as a natural part of human development, not as something magical or superhuman. Understanding these points can help us approach Rosicrucianism with a clearer perspective, seeing it for what it really is, a philosophical and spiritual tradition focused on personal growth and understanding the nature of reality. As we wrap up our exploration of the Rosicrucian tradition, it's clear that this ancient wisdom has a lot to offer in our modern world. From its core principles of interconnectedness and personal responsibility to its practical applications in daily life, Rosicrucianism provides a unique lens through which to view ourselves and the world around us. We've journeyed through the key principles of Rosicrucianism, explored its path of learning, delved into its practices, and even decoded some of its powerful symbols. We've seen how these teachings can be applied to everyday situations, potentially helping us navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and awareness. But remember, this is just the beginning. The Rosicrucian path, like many spiritual traditions, is not about quick fixes or easy answers. It's a lifelong journey of discovery, growth, and transformation. Whether you're drawn to join a Rosicrucian order or simply find some of these ideas intriguing, the real value comes from putting these principles into practice in your own life. As you go forward from here, consider how some of these ideas might apply to your own experiences. Maybe you'll try out a meditation practice or start paying more attention to the principle of cause and effect in your daily choices. Perhaps you'll explore the idea of mental alchemy the next time you're faced with a challenging situation. The beauty of wisdom traditions like Rosicrucianism is that they offer tools and perspectives that each person can adapt and apply in their own unique way. It's not about following a strict set of rules, but about exploring, questioning, and growing. In a world that often feels chaotic and disconnected, Traditions like Rosicrucianism remind us of the underlying unity of all things. They encourage us to look deeper, to seek understanding, and to take responsibility for our own growth and the impact we have on the world around us. Whether Rosicrucianism becomes a significant part of your life or simply offers you a few new ideas to ponder, the journey of self-discovery and understanding it represents is valuable in itself. After all, in the words often attributed to ancient wisdom traditions, "Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God." Thank you for joining me on this journey into the fascinating world of Rosicrucianism. May your own journey of discovery be rich, rewarding, and full of insights. Remember, the greatest mysteries and the deepest wisdom often lie not in some far-off place, but within ourselves and in the world around us. We just need to learn how to see them